Welcome to tutorialsinhand.com. Let's see how we can use break statement in Java in for loop. Now for example, if we see this simple piece of code that we have already seen when we were writing the program to print the numbers from 1 to 10 using the for loop, then we had this for loop, right, where I started from 1 and then it ran up to 10 and checked the condition. If i's value is less than or is equals to 10, then we were printing the value of I within the loop, and we were also incrementing the value of I for the next iteration, and it happily printed the values from 1 to 10 on the console. Now if you want to see the explanation for this, then please visit that video tutorial. We have the link in the description section for that. Let's focus on how we will use break in this for loop and how it will affect this for loop. Now at present it is happily printing the numbers from 1 to 10 on the console, right? Now suppose if we apply break now, suppose we give a condition if I is equals to 4, then what we are going to do? We are going to apply break, and if we apply break within a for loop, what it is going to do is, as the name suggests, it will break this for loop and the control will come out of the for loop. That means anything which is written after this for loop will get printed. If you have any statement over here, it will get printed once this condition is met and the break is applied. That means once the value of I becomes 4, it will enter within this if, and once it enters within this if, we are seeing a break statement that is applied, and this will break this for loop, right? And this break is unlabeled one. We have two breaks. We can apply break in two ways: unlabeled break and labeled break. So this is a kind of unlabeled break. We will show you how you can apply labeled break as well, but for now let's see this one only. And now if we execute this program, what will happen is after printing 3, it stops, and the reason behind that is pretty simple. As I explained you, when the value of I becomes 4, that means after this 3, after the third iteration, right, after the third iteration, the value of I will become 4, and once the value of I becomes 4, 4 less than is equals to 10 will be true. It will enter inside this for loop again, and we have the value of I incremented by 1 for the next iteration. That means in the next iteration the value of I will be 5, so it will remain on hold till we complete this iteration. So the value of I is 4, and once it is 4, we are checking the condition that if 4 is equals to 4, then we are applying break, and once the break is applied, the control comes out of this for loop, and thus we only see the values up to 3 getting printed. And why the values up to 3 is getting printed? Because when it is 1 less than is equals to 10, that is true, and we are increasing the value of I by 1, that is 2 for the next iteration, but in the current iteration the value of I will be 1, and when 1 is equals to 4 is checked, it becomes false, and if it is false, we do not enter this if block, and as we do not enter this if block, then we are printing the value of I, and that is why the value of I is getting printed as 1 in the first iteration. In the next iteration, the value of I becomes 1 because we had incremented this by 1, and this becomes 2, and when it becomes 2, 2 less than is equals to 10 will be compared. It will again turn out to be true, and once it turns out to be true, we enter this for loop. Again this if will be checked, that is 2 is equals to 4, that is false because 2 is not equals to 4, and that is why we do not enter this if loop, and thus we come at this statement where the value of I as 2 is getting printed on the screen, and thus we see 2. Again it is incremented by 1 and it becomes 3, and once it becomes 3, 3 less than is equals to 10, that is true, and we again enter this loop. Now if will be checked, 3 is equals to 4, that is false, so we do not enter again within the if, and if we do not enter the if, then the next statement statement after this if is getting printed, and thus we see the value 3 getting printed on the screen. Now when it becomes 4, as we explained that 4 less than is equals to 10 will be true, it will increase the value of I by 1, that is 5, but in the current iteration the value will be 4, and if it is 4 then 4 is equals to 4 will be true, and once it is true it enters this if block, and once it enters this if block we have unlabeled break applied. That means break is applied, and when break is applied it terminates the entire for loop, and once it terminates the entire for loop we come out of this for loop, and if you have any statement printed outside this for loop that would get printed. Let's have a statement for terminated by break. So now once I becomes 4 it will come out of the loop and this statement will get printed this time. After 3 we will have for terminated by break. So let's execute this and see. So this is what we get, because I became 4, and when it became 4 within if we had a break statement as 4 is equals to 4, so if got executed, and when if got executed break was applied and break terminated this for loop and control came outside the for, and thus we have this statement printed. So here we have explained how we can use break statement, or you can say the unlabeled break statement with a for loop. Now in the next video tutorial we will be showing how you can use labeled break with nested for loop, that means with for loop within the for loop. So stay tuned for the next video tutorial. Please like and subscribe our channel to help us motivate. Thank you.